Hello guys, welcome to Bhavna's Online Academy. So in this video, we are going to see all the things that you need to know before you start your CA final and also your articleship. All the questions that you have in your mind or any doubts that you have in relation to CA final attempt calculation or your articleship, I'm going to answer in this video. So watch the video till the end to get the best benefit out of it. So now let's get into the video guys. So starting with the most basic question, what is articleship and for how much period do you have to do this for? So in simple terms, articleship is nothing but a training which is given to a CA student so that he is groomed into a well-rounded professional and becomes experienced of a real workplace and also becomes knowledgeable of the real world and practical world and how it works, so that once he qualifies into a CA, he has the knowledge and the experience to start through his career, right? So, and also for how much duration is this articleship for? This articleship tenure is of 3 years, and by the end of this 3 years, you are going to write your final exams and then you can be a qualified CA. So the next question arises is that when do you become eligible to do this articleship, or what are the prerequisites that you need to know to be able to do this articleship? So basically there are 3 routes by which you become eligible to do an articleship. First is that you write your foundation exam and then clear your CA intermediate and start with your articleship. Or else in case if you have completed your graduation, then in such case you can write your intermediate exams and post which you will be able to do your articleship. And in these both of the cases, you are also required to complete your ITT and orientation training, and the final method by which you can start your articleship is after you qualify your intermediate levels of ICSI or ICEWA, you're not required to write your foundation exam. So you can skip that and directly write your intermediate level of CA. And once after that, the same process follows. You need to complete your ITT and orientation training and then you can start with your articleship. Now that you are eligible, the next question that arises in your mind is, what are various fields that I can get a practical training in, or can I do my articleship in? So basically you can divide these into the 5 parts that are shown there. So starting with the first one, you have your statutory audit, you have taxation, mergers and acquisitions, forensic audit, internal audit, and there are a lot more fields which you can explore once you start doing your articleship. Just the thing you have to remember is that in case if you're doing your articleship in a small size firm or a mid-size firm, you might get a more whole-rounded idea or a whole-rounded experience in all the fields that are written here. Whereas in case if you want to go into a top 10 firm or a big 4, you are more likely to be told to choose a particular field, suppose either audit or only tax, and you will be set to specialize in that one particular field only. So whenever you choose a firm, kindly keep that in mind on what kind of experience you want to gain from the firms that you choose. Then moving on to the next part that all the students, CS students want to know about is the stipend. What will you earn once you start your articleship? So these are stipend details as given in the picture are the basic stipend details that the ICAI has provided us. So this is not exactly what is followed in the market. You might get a higher pay than this also, but depending on the population, ICAI has categorized these stipend norms into 3 parts, and depending on the population of your city or where you do your articleship in, your first year, second year and third year minimum basic pay will be decided. But usually if you go around your small firms and your medium firms, you are most likely to be paid around somewhere 3,000 to 7,000 depending on the firm you choose. In case you go into a top 5 or a big 4, you are most likely to be paid higher than that. That is somewhere around 8,000 to 15,000 to 20,000. So it primarily depends on the firm, but these are the basic pay details given here. So the next question that arises is, how many hours are you required to work when you do articleship? So there is no hard and fast rule as such. As you know, CA industry is one of those industries where you have to work and stretch longer nights and longer days. But as per ICAI guidelines, they have set a standard of 35 hours per week, but we all know that depending on the firm you choose again, the number of hours that you're going to work is definitely going to be more than this, or this you can keep as a minimum number, which is 35 hours a week. So the next question is, how much leave are you permitted to take when you do your articleship? So as per ICAI guidelines, 1/6 of the total articleship period you are eligible to take leave, and this leave is what is also called as your study leave, that is before your CA final attempt. This much number of days are the number of days that you can avail as your leave. So as you say, 1/6 of total articleship period somewhere comes around 153 days. So this is your leave period. So the next question is that are you supposed to do all 3 years of your articleship at the same place, or are you even permitted to change your articleship firms or the place where you do your articleship in? So the answer to this is no. You are allowed to change your firm, but at a few conditions. So within your first year of articleship, you are allowed to change firm, but once you cross your first year of articleship, in the second and third year, you are not allowed to change firms. But there are a few cases where ICAI permits you to change. That is in case you have any medical reason or your house is far away from the place that you have taken your articleship in, or in case your parents or families change cities and you have to move cities. And then in such cases, like there are very few cases which have been mentioned by ICAI, in these cases alone, with proper reasoning, you will be allowed to change your firm in the second or third year. But this is not permitted to everybody. And the third option that you have in case you don't want to work in the same firm for 3 years is that after 1.5 years of your articleship is over, or you can say after 18 months of your articleship period is over, you are allowed to take up industrial training. So now what is industrial training? Let's see in the next slide. So a few things in mind before you move on to the option of industrial training. What you have to remember is the minimum period that you have to serve your articleship, that is 18 months, only post which you will be allowed to start with your industrial trainings. And before you join your industrial training, you have to give a 3 months notice to your earlier principal, and only case if they accept, you are permitted to go for industrial training. And what is industrial training, and if you want to know more about it, you can read through the entire slide, or I'll even post a entire separate video about it, but in this video I'll not be able to cover. But just remember that this is one more option that you have. So whenever you start your articleship, you have to remember that there are two forms that you have to apply. So the first form is your form number 1 or 3, where you submit a form saying that you have commenced your articleship, and then the second form is your form number 1 or 2 that you have to submit, and it is basically an agreement where you have declared that you have started your training with so and so principal. So these both forms are available on the ICAI SSP website. I'll include a screenshot of both the forms in the next slide as here. And one more tip that you have to remember is that form number 1 or 2, this form you have to submit within 30 days of your articleship, within 30 days of starting your articleship. So kindly do that without fail. So the next part is one of those parts which most of the ICAI students or the CA students are unaware of. It is the practical training assessment. So once you start your articleship, by the end of your first year and by the end of the second year, you are supposed to give online MCQ based test, which the ICAI conducts to test the knowledge that you have obtained in your practical training and whether you are able to apply the subject or the theoretical knowledge to your practical training and how much you have learned. So this is basically a test of 75 marks which will be conducted for 3 hours, and you are supposed to give that exam, and based on which you will be provided the grades, grade A, B or C. And students should not forget that these grades would be reflected in their final mark sheets, that is after their CA final exams, the mark sheet that they receive. So kindly do this test with all honesty and sincerity. So moving on to the last topic that all the students have requested me for, and most of the students have confusion about, is when should they register for their CA final exams, and also when will their CA final attempt will be due. So answering the first question, when you should register for your CA final exams. So a CA student can apply for CA final registration anytime before they submit their final CA exam form. So usually, since ICAI takes a few months to process it, it's always better that you do it as early as possible. You can also do it once you start your articleship too. So now moving on to the last question, when will your CA final attempt will be due? That means once you complete your intermediate exams and once you start your articleship, when will you be eligible to write your CA final exams? So always remember that there are 2 timelines or 2 dates which the ICAI has released. The first one is that before anybody who is applying before 30th of April or within 30th of April, their exams will be due on one of the November attempts. And in case if you are applying before 31st of October or anywhere within 31st of October or the last day of October, then your attempt will be due in one of the May exams. Okay. So usually your CA final attempt will be due 2.5 years after you register for your CA articleship. So from the date you have registered for your CA articleship After 2.5 years, the attempt after that will be your attempt. For example, now taking the timeline, let me explain with you an example. So suppose if you have registered before 30th of April, okay, 30th April 2022, or in the month of April, in case if you have registered, then you know that your attempt will be one of the November attempt, right? So if you have registered on 30th April 2022, then 2.5 years from that, 30th April 2022 to 2023 will be 1 year, 30th April 2024 will be your second year, and now the 2 years have passed, more 0.5 years, that means 30th October 2024, the attempt which is next or after 30th October 2024 will be your attempt, which is nothing but your November 2024 exams is your attempt, in case if you have registered in 30th April 2022 on or before that date. Okay, so that same way, in case if you have registered in 31st October 2022, May 2025 exams will be your CA final exam attempt. So I hope you understood it. So from the date you have registered, you need to calculate 2.5 years after that. So one more question that I would like to take here is that for the students who have attempted a multiple number of CA intermediate examinations, and in case if they have cleared their CA inter exams only after 1 year of their articleship or 2 years of starting their articleship, or even after completing their articleship only if they have cleared their CA intermediate exams, then in such case, when will their CA final attempt be due? Then in such case, two things that you have to remember is that your CA final attempt due date will only be calculated depending upon your CA articleship commencement date. So once you have submitted your form 102 and 103, from that day to 2.5 years after that, whatever attempt is due, your CA final attempt will be due. Okay, but before that attempt is due, you need to clear both your CA intermediate groups. Only after that you will be eligible to write your CA final exams. So yes guys, we have come towards the end of the video. Hope you liked the video and you found this helpful. In case if you did, please make sure to like and share and subscribe, and also share with all your CA intermediate and articleship friends so they are also aware of all these things. Thank you.